Today, to round off the Premier League weekend, those two for Liverpool keep the title within grasp. They're chalking them off. And two for Burnley, having been 1 down against Leicester. Huge win for Sean Dyche's team as well earlier on after all the drama yesterday. So, in terms of the table, just to reiterate what it means, astonishing numbers really. 22 games in, 21 wins from those 22 games now for Liverpool. Of course, United were the only team to take points off them earlier in the season. They couldn't do it today. So 64 points for Jurgen Klopp's side, 16 clear of Manchester City. And as I say, they still have the game in hand. Manchester United just about within touch of the Champions League, 5 points off Chelsea, who, of course, they still have to play in the Premier League away from home. In Anfield today.
It was probably a nervy last 10 minutes because, of course, the amount of chances we had, the game could have been killed off. But as Jordan said, you know, 1-0 is a dangerous scoreline, and Manchester United came back into it because they've got good players. But they were resilient, Liverpool, they defended well, and I think it would have been a travesty had we not won that match. Because, yes, Manchester United could have even got an equaliser, but in terms of the overall 90-minute performance, yeah, we were well worth the victory.
What kind of levels are they consistently hitting at the moment, John?
Exactly what you say, consistency. Every time they play, I feel at times last year they played better, but this year, even though there are times, even in this game in 10-minute spells, they haven't hit top form, but they've been resilient, they've been dogged, they've not given anything away, and consistency is the word, because as I said, they've played better at times, but they've had 20 victories and 1 draw, so you can't ask any more of that, and that's the sign of champions. You can't always play well, but what you got to demand of when you perform, you go out there and you give 100%, and when they start to perform well, at the highest level, they'll score 4 and 5 goals. The fans were talking about maybe 4 or 5-0. I'll say let's be happy with 1-0. This is the performance of champions. Not just this performance, but performances this season. The Tottenham performance, when all of a sudden Tottenham came back into the game, but we didn't concede. Man United came back into the game, we didn't concede. And this is the sign of champions, when you don't necessarily play fantastic football for 90 minutes, but you get the job done and you get the result. No, and I've just mentioned that 7 clean sheets in a row at 1-0. Could you feel any edginess, any nervousness at all in the stadium? I don't think there was nervousness because the fans, I've always said, since Alisson and Van Dijk have come, the fans have got a calm about them. Even when we're under pressure, even when crosses are coming in the box, we are really a calm stadium, which really transfers onto the pitch. So, yes, Manchester United came back into it and they created 1 or 2 opportunities, but there didn't seem to be any problems with Liverpool. And you can see towards the end, in fact, even in the winning goal, why not get everyone back behind the ball and be happy with 1-0? But they kept calm, knowing that Man United are pushing forward, and their Alisson, rather than keeping hold of the ball to waste time, 1-0 up, last couple of minutes, you can see how we perform because we keep calm all the way through to the end.
John, you were sat behind the benches. Was that calmness personified on the bench as well, or was Jurgen Klopp up and down like anybody's business?
Well, I went up to see some of the old boys, Aldo and some of the old boys. It got a bit cold for me, Michael. So rather than being on the bench, I went up into the prawn sandwich brigade. So, but of course, Jurgen jumped up and down on the bench. And in many respects, that's for him. As you know, it's difficult for you to get your message out onto the pitch. And when you see Jurgen jumping up and screaming, I don't think the players really take too much notice of it. That is for Jurgen. But the players know what they have to do. They're calm all throughout the match, regardless of the state of the game. So it was just a fantastic performance, and as I said, a well-worthy victory.
And to think they've beaten every team in the Premier League already this season is astonishing at this stage, isn't it?
I mean, it's carried on from last season. I mean, last season when we lost 1 game and people said, what did we need to do to improve? How can you improve on losing 1 game all season? Now, of course, there's only 21 games gone, and we can improve by not losing any games, which I don't expect us to do. I'm sure, I think we'll lose 1 or 2 games. But the consistency we've shown, including last season all the way to the end and getting 97 points and winning the Champions League, has shown that, yes, this is a great season, but it's really been a great 18 months to 2 years for Liverpool.
John, we'll talk to you again in a second. Thank you very much indeed. They just need a maximum of 30 points now to make absolutely sure. I mean, you start to wonder now what date they could get their hands on it, don't you?
That's right. And do you know what? I'm sure Jurgen Klopp will be thinking that now because they're in 3 competitions. People talking about, well, leave the FA Cup alone, just focus on the Premier League and the Champions League. But it might be that they've got nothing to play for the last 2 months of the season. If things go, a certain way, they might have already won the league and they might be out the European Cup. So you never know. So it'll be really interesting to see how he juggles his pack now. But I'm sure he'll still want to go strong in the Premier League right to the end because there's so many records that this team could beat points totals, all kinds of records. So it will be interesting to see how he juggles his pack from now on in.
You've won this. You've got your hands on that title. You know how consistent you have to be. I mean, just a word on Liverpool's levels at the moment that they're producing week in, week out, Robin.
Yeah, it is important to get the points in during the difficult games. You know, in my first season at Manchester United as well, I think we came behind 26 times during that league, during that season, and most games we still got something out of it. And Liverpool today, for the last 30 minutes, they were struggling because Manchester United was playing really well. They were putting pressure constantly. And John said it as well. United had one or two chances, but they stayed and they were solid from crosses, and they just stuck in there and they get the result over the line. And that's a true sign of champions.
Yeah, we talk about talent, and obviously that's first and foremost. We heard Jordan Henderson talking again there about the mentality, the strength of mentality. The manager's on at them all the time to improve. He wants more.
Yeah, as he's talking, I was almost feeling sorry for him, thinking, you should be enjoying all this, but they're that focused. They keep saying next game, next game, next game. You'd think that the quality of this team, you know, they should be almost having a party at the end of everything. They've just beaten Manchester United 2-0. But they're so determined to win this league. They're so focused on it. They know what happened last season, having thrown a few points lead away, that you're just not going to get a slip of the tongue, let alone a slip on the pitch. I mean, they're absolutely brilliant, doing everything to the second, and there's no way on earth they're going to throw this away.
And when United look back on the goals, particularly the first one at 0-0, they'll be disappointed. They felt they could have done better, Robin?
Yeah, definitely. If you concede against Liverpool from open play, you would, okay, hands up. It can happen with so many great players. But from a corner, in such easy way, you know, I really do think, but I'm not the coach, you know, I really do think that they should change their policy with defending corners, because here Virgil has a free run-up, you know, no one is really covering him. I think against the big guys you have to put big guys against it, you know, and let them battle it out. If it, I do think that you have a bigger chance if you compete that way instead of zonal.
He did so well, didn't he? There. He just held Maguire down, Gomez, and just enough for the referee not to give a foul. But I've got no doubts whatsoever, if Gomez didn't hold Maguire down, he would have been challenging Virgil van Dijk and it wouldn't have been a goal. He's a brilliant header of the ball himself, is Maguire. So he just did enough to alter the course of play there, and of course, you don't need to give Virgil van Dijk a second chance.
Now, you both said to me before the game, Mo Salah, for instance, hadn't scored against Manchester United. That would be playing on his mind. He can put that one to bed now. You could see what it meant to him, couldn't you?
Yeah, because he just made a comment about it, that it was in his head, something like that, during half-time.
You strikers, you know what
he
it's
will
like.
be very relieved, you know, by getting that goal.
Yeah, I mean, he missed a really good chance earlier on, didn't he, in this second half.
But what a pass from Alisson, by the way.
But yeah,
brilliant pass.
Goalkeepers don't get too many assists, but he can definitely lay claim to that one. A brilliant ball. And, you know, I was talking to him just before this game, as we know, at Melwood earlier in the week. And he was asking me a few questions about being in the gym and what I used to do. And he was quite surprised at the lack of time that we used to spend in the gym back in the day, because he says he basically lives in the gym. And the strength of him there, you know, Daniel James is running alongside him the whole way and he's keeping him at arm's length. He's so strong and in control of the ball. I mean, it was a fabulous goal.
And you can see what it meant to Jurgen Klopp. It is the team to beat Manchester United. You know what it's like as a Liverpool player in that fixture. Forget the context of the story of this season. That isolated fixture when that whistle goes.
Yeah, I mean, just everything at the moment at Liverpool is perfect. I'm watching the fans walking out at the stage and then I'm just having a little moment and thinking, you know, this is like once in a lifetime type of stuff. OK, it might last 3 years, it might last 5 years, whatever it might be, but you just don't see your team in your life really playing at this level, being so dominant, being so good, going to Anfield and being so confident they're going to beat teams like Manchester United, like Manchester City, like Chelsea, all these great teams. And, you know, I think the players, but certainly the fans are pinching themselves at the moment, just thinking it can't get any better. The beautiful new stadium, all stands that are being built, the plans, the new training grounds opening very soon. You know, there's players that you can relate to that have come through the academy. There's world-class talent all over the place. It just doesn't happen. And, you know, it's just such a good time to be a Liverpool fan at the moment.
It certainly is. So a maximum of 30 more points if they want to get their hands on that title. 52